everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves a Scrap, and I'm coming to you from a freezing cold Sydney down under. Today is looking at our Series 15, Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, and it's day 7. Today we're using CC Inez's, known as Christina Creatives, sketch, and this is what I've created. I've gone with a Harry Potter theme for this one. It was perfect for my photos from the Store of Requirements in Queensland. So I have my 3 photos of my mystical creatures. I've chosen some Harry Potter plaid and bookshelves and little Harry Potter icons to build my page. I'm using this brickwork which matches in nicely to the photos and brings out that Hogswarty feel to my layout. Using this lovely orange cardstock because I wanted to capture the colours from my photos, and people ask how I managed to use so many different colours and so many different brands, and that's how I do it. I look at my photos and I choose the colours from my photos, and if they're complementary to the photos then they'll work as a layout. So I'm just trimming off a 1/4 edge from the background sheet to lay it onto my frame so that I have my solid base to work with. The little bit of colour in the background just makes it pop and it finishes off that layout, and it's a good way of keeping it solid as well. So I'm going to just trim this photo down. Now my photos aren't the same size as the sketch, but that's okay because it still works. I'm using a 6x4 instead of a 5x7, and I'm going to double mount that photo. I have trimmed down one to a smaller size. They were originally 3.5 by 5, and now I think that one's 3.5 by 4.5, and this one is still at the 3.5 by 5. But that works nicely for the photos showing off those creatures. I like to try and keep close to what the original artist has done, and I try to follow as closely as I can. Now I'm using 6x6 papers here, so I'm going to show you how to stretch it so it looks like I've been using full pages, and it's really easy to do when you have a pattern like the bookshelf where you can divide it evenly into rows and then marry it together. So I'm just putting the plaid into place because that's the square that you see in the sketch, and then I'm just using the paper with the bookcase to build my strips, and luckily they divide into equal rows of 3. You saw that I cut a thin strip to the side to build it so it looks like it's a full page underneath, and that's the beauty of pages that have a continuous pattern across it. The same here, you can see with the Harry Potter symbols here, I'm using those across the page, and that allows it to build nicely. Now I only need to go in underneath, and I'm just trimmed off the scarf and it still looks appropriate there. I need to add in a little bit more there, but because it's a continuous line, you can see how that marries across the page and looks like I have a full strip in line. And because of the way the layout is, that join just disappears into the background and you can't see it. So this is a great way of using those 6x6 pads, and it's also a great way of stretching your stash. And I put in here, and once it's all laid down, you will see that it looks like I actually have used a full 12x12 and cut it down. So as I lay this photo in place, I look at it and I realise that I really want a bit of those books on the other side. So I'm going to lift this strip that I've already put down, and I'm actually, because it's got tape on it, it's great and easy to cut exactly in half by laying it onto the cutter. And then I'm just going to realign it back into my layout, put my photo in before I put that final strip down, and it's going to tuck in under that photo on the edge, and it's going to look like that it's placed exactly as per the sketch. And now I have got a full square in place with the bookcase. So I'm now putting up my photos, and of course my photos are larger, but I try to keep it onto the mat as close as possible so that when I go to build the embellishment clusters, it's staying in place. And I have added that one there with Buckbeak and Fluffy and Hedwig and giant owls, and also the giant phoenix in the background. I really wished I'd had the money, $2,000 for Buckbeak it was, but you know, that's a wish, that's a desire, but so perfect. And this shop in Queensland is so worth a visit if you ever are in that area. It's just magic. So I'm cutting these little Harry Potter icon pieces from the paper into tags, and they're going to be the basis for my 3 embellishment clusters. And I just created those from the base paper. And as you can see, I have gone to my die cutting, my trusty die cuts, and I've created the Harry Potter symbol for his name and also for all of his books and stories. And then I have cut out the title, Wondrous Creatures, and it always reminds me of Hagrid, my favourite character. I had put it down and it wasn't in the right spot, so I'm just realigning my title so that I can fit it in, and I'm going across my photos. I have used a Xyron sticker maker, which is acid free, and I can put them on there. And don't be afraid to cover photos in spots where there's some dead space in the photo. It's always good to build it up around and to create a full image of that photo. So I've just inked around those tags to lift them off the page. I've used some gathered twigs there. That gives it a little bit of a shadowy effect. I'm using some foam tape to pop them up so that they're not sitting flat, and it adds some dimension and shadow, which creates interest, of course, for the eye. So I've built the clusters pretty much the same as the sketch. I've added in golden snitch and the sorting hat, and in behind that third one I'm putting the Deathly Hallows. So I'm staying with the theme of the page and I'm bringing it together. I'm just going to tuck in some stars here in the blue to pick up the blue in my photos and to pick up the blues in the papers, and that just adds that complementary colour scheme all together. To finish it off, I'm just going to add my Nuvos. I'm going to put a big dob on each of the tags so that they look like they are full tags. I'm going to add in my clusters of 3 into my embellishment clusters, setting up the triangle for the eye, and there you have my page. 3 photos, 3 clusters, all together with a title and the colour scheme matching my photos. I'm just going to add in the date. So this was the day before we cruised, so I know the date was the 9th of November last year. I'm putting it down in the bottom. I don't need to put any journaling because this will be another page in that same album where I've already added some journaling around this straw. I'm just going to make sure that everything is in place. Remember, don't be afraid, as I said, make sure everything is stuck down, use your clusters wisely, overlap your photos, and you can see how that continuous run of papers is looking just like it is one main strip. And that's because of the pattern that is involved. And if you can use one that has a continuous pattern, it's a lot easier to make it stretch. So there's my layout. I'm hoping that you found something helpful and useful in this one. It is this great sketch from Christina Creative, can be found on YouTube and Instagram. I will put all her details in the description down below. Don't forget, there's a whole playlist of people playing along. This is day 7, and I'm sure there are plenty of other interpretations of this sketch out there. So thanks for watching, and thanks for looking, spending time on this cold Australian day. Scrapping with Kathy Loves to Scrap from Down Under. Give me a like, it lets YouTube know you want to see more of my work. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't, and thank you if you already are. And leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. If you want to see something new, or you want to see something that I haven't done or explain further, let me know. I am Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. You can find me on all my socials under that title, including Instagram, where all my layouts end up. Thanks for watching. Once again, happy scrapping. See you next time.